What's up, sinners? We're not going to be doing no stupid intro. We're getting straight into the top 25 matches of the year. P.S. I didn't put any FTR matches on the list. I'm such a dumbass. I genuinely don't know how. They're like my favorite tag team in the world. And they had at least like 5 match of the year candidates. Also, their match against the Briscoes with the dog collars, that came out after I had already written this list, and I was too lazy, but that's probably top 10. Alright, let's begin. Number 25, we got Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito for the semifinals of the New Japan Cup. Anytime these two square off, it's special, but the year-long story of Naito desperately trying to get into the main event of Wrestle Kingdom after having to miss out due to injuries, getting over the hump that is the GOAT of New Japan, the multiple-time world champion, before sadly still coming up short anyway in the finals against Zack Sabre Jr. Ooh, that's a spicy, underrated storyline right there. I really enjoyed it, and I just give Naito his flowers, man. He's the best. Number 24, Hangman Adam Page versus Konosuke Takeshita from Dynamite sometime in May. The Hangman Adam Page world title reign left some fans a bit underwhelmed, but you cannot deny the in-ring quality produced by Mr. Cowboy Shit. This match was part of Takeshita's excursion from DDT, a Japanese promotion, coming over to AEW and putting on banging matches the whole time. This match is quick, kinetic, and an excellent showcase of Takeshita's potential. Have him win, I don't know, the All-Atlantic title 2023. I want to see that. Number 23, Jun Akiyama versus Eddie Kingston from the Full Gear Buy-In. The fact this match was on the pre-show free just on YouTube is a crime. Eddie Kingston has always been one of the best when it comes to emotional storytelling, so it's no surprise that when he got the opportunity to work with his idol and inspiration, he would go all out, bawling his eyes out while working a love letter of a match to the old 90s All Japan Kings Road style against one of its, he's not part of considered the fifth pillar of that company during that time. This really shows AEW's main strength as a promotion, that being variety. You can see spot fests, you can see bloody death matches, emotional matches, you can see ones where they just beat the shit out of each other, comedy matches. It's all great. Also, go watch his promo after the match. With only 2 minutes left in the live stream, he not only entertains the fans, but also promoted the show, his idols, his friends, all while having a relatable charisma like no other. Genuinely, it's like a top 20 promo of the year, and again, he only had 2 minutes. That's insane. Give him all of the championships. Number 22, Kairi versus Mayu Iwatani, New Japan Pro Wrestling X Stardom. This match was historic as the crowning of the first IWGP Women's Champion, and the match itself fits the historic stakes. Kairi was certainly the right winner and can hopefully lead this new division for the foreseeable future. P.S. She still has the best elbow drop in all wrestling, aside from maybe Macho Man. But I said that in the last video, but it needs to be said every video. Number 21, Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship from Full Gear. Nobody greater than Hayter. A force of nature so perfectly made in God's image that AEW broke their own internal logic to make her the undisputed champion. When Adam gave up his rib to create Eve, that was actually the backup plan, because there is nothing he can give to even make 10% of Jamie Hayter. So, yeah. I like Jamie Hayter a lot. And also the match was pretty good. Number 20. Jesus Christ, we're only at 20. I think I drove away most people with the Jamie Hayter tangent. Anyway, Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson 2 at AEW Grand Slam. Take their incredible match from Revolution earlier in the year, give it the stakes of a title, and you have one of the best TV matches of the year, with both wrestlers having a 50-50 chance of who's going to win. These two had god-tier years, and this match just showed off both their technical and brawling abilities. 19. Alright, let's talk about Dax Hartwood and Cash Wheeler. Somehow the only FTR match I have this list, and it's against each other, so that's wild. This match was the first of many surprisingly great Dax Harwood singles matches, and his tag partner was also great as well. I mean, Dax had tons of great matches this year against like Adam Cole. I believe he had one against Claudio. They were all great. But Cash Wheeler also doesn't get enough credit. This whole match was a friendly love letter to the Hart family style of wrestling. I love matches where both competitors know each other so well that their matches just counter after counter after counter. It's like a beautiful choreographed dance. And FTR, probably the smartest men in wrestling when it comes to just their IQ in crafting a match. That's why they should have more of their matches in the top 25. Number 18 is Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta from the 8th of April AEW Rampage. So the past 3 matches have all been TV matches from AEW. That's insane. When looking at this match, I think of the goal of getting the crowd to care about the young Wheeler Yuta and the Jesus Christ success of the execution. Literal. You can really see the crowd get into the story behind being told. To enter the Blackpool Combat Club, you have to bleed with the Blackpool Combat Club, and Wheeler did a lot of that. His raw, infectious underdog energy was great as the focus, but I also love the vicious, sometimes ugly-to-watch aggression of Moxley. Both guys really knew their roles and played them perfectly in this match, and not a lot of people have seen this because nobody watches Rampage. Number 17 is the crowning moment of MJF becoming world champion against, once again, Jon Moxley at, once again, AEW Full Gear. There was a pile driver through a table, so it's automatically on the list because of it. This genuinely feels like the 2 biggest stars in the company in the biggest spot of the card. The drama at the ending was also great. Number 16. Oh god, it's the women's wrestler I can't pronounce her name of. Syuri versus, hey, it's Utami Hayashida again. I don't remember this match all too well, but you look at the names, imagine a Stardom match, picture a dropkick that probably decapitates one of them, and yeah, it checks out. This one can make on the list. Okay, done with the break from AEW, back to AEW. Number 15 is another match from Full Gear, the opening steel cage match between Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Steel cages are always a good sign in AEW of a blood feud ending. Jungle Boy bled like a prime Ric Flair. Luchasaurus was also kind of like a proper Kane-level monster. The sit-up spot between these two really reminded me of Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker in the best possible way. And, of course, the elbow drop off the top was a great finish. This being the opening match and the big win and being given enough time to really get into, well, Full Gear really made Jungle Boy seem like the next big star, which is very smart. Number 14, Swerve in Our Glory versus The Acclaim, the second match from AEW Grand Slam. These 2 teams had 3 great matches between September and November, and each of them had a shot of making this list, but in the end I'm going with their second match, mostly because of the electrifying atmosphere and hot crowd. Sometimes wrestling is just really simple. When people really, really want something, just give it to them. Because once again, everybody loves The Acclaimed. Number 13 is actually my favorite women's match of the year, and it's not from Stardom or AEW, but it's from WWE with Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. A lot of people will put the WrestleMania match ahead of it, and honestly probably, but the fact that Becky Lynch, completely tore her shoulder and then wrestled for another 20 minutes and still put on a 4.5-star classic, and the post-match angle, this is my favorite match the 2 have ever had. So now there is a bit of a gap here in the list. We're not playing around. Every match from this point on is 5-star gourmet shit classic. Starting with number 12, a match I really wanted to squeeze into the top 10. It is freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay at AEW X New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. The greatest wrestler in the world was wasted on a comedy match. Also, Will Ospreay was there. This match is at one point hilarious, and the next impressive. Orange Cassidy doesn't care, puts zero effort into wrestling. Ospreay, on the other hand, tries so goddamn hard and is so unbelievably pissed off at Cassidy. This is the best comedy match I've seen maybe ever, and when the action actually gets going, it's very exciting, and the crowd's just 100% in on the joke, which only elevates the match. Will Ospreay, again, just being this grumpy British douchebag, while Orange Cassidy is doing all this stupid, silly comedy stuff. It's genius. Number 11, just barely missing out on the top 10. It is Jurassic Express versus Team Taz versus Swerve in Our Glory. 6 extraordinary, I think this is from Double or Nothing. 6 extraordinary athletes just doing so much good wrestling. Ricky Starks and Swerve have just so much charisma. Jungle Boy is great. Powerhouse Hobbs is underrated. Luchasaurus does things a man of his size shouldn't be allowed to do. And Keith Lee is the perfect human being. What if Keith Lee and Jamie Hayter were a tag team? What if Hangman Adam Page was also in that team? I think I'd go into cardiac arrest. Top 10 time, baby! And coming in at number 10 is Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay from Wrestle Kingdom 16. Arguably the two best wrestlers of this generation, though Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega might have something to say about that. This match hurts to watch, and simply you need a nap after it. It's great. Number 9, Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes, Hell in a Cell. Jesus Christ, look at his tit. Look at his tit! Looks like a parasite that created Grimace from McDonald's. Yeah, so Cody tore his pec right off the bone while working out. The doctor said, well, technically, since it's completely off the bone, it can't get much worse. Cody said, okay, and went on to wrestle for 25 minutes while Seth, like the little snake he is, starts whacking him with random shit in the tit. Bret Hart was all about targeting a limb and slowly breaking his opponent, but I don't think he ever focused on nipple offense, which is why Seth Rollins will be in the top 10 wrestlers of the year. Look at his tit! Look at it! Why? Well, he shouldn't have... Why? I don't like it. Number 8, Blood and Guts. Second best War Games match of the year. It's stupid boys in a stupid cage doing stupid things to each other. Daddy Magic went into so many thumbtacks he came out looking like a block of cheese. Bet that didn't make his nipples hard. Sammy got thrown off the cage. That's always fun to see. Jesus Christ, did anybody tell these guys that wrestling is fake? Beneath all the glorious violence, there's a sweet little story told. The focus is on the blood feud between Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho, but also the history between longtime rivals turned teammates Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli, because Eddie Kingston has beef with everyone in pro wrestling. You get the feeling Eddie still feels slighted by Claudio even after a decade away from each other, so when Claudio steals the win at the end, you can sense the tension. And then AEW forgot that Eddie existed after this match. So, that kind of sucks. Number 7, a match a lot of people had as match of the year. Gunther versus Sheamus at Clash of the Castle. Speaking, Cody's tits might have looked purple, but Sheamus's were so goddamn red. To convince people... It turns out that the best way to convince people you're hitting each other very hard in wrestling is to just hit each other very hard. That's what this match is. Just two European boys beat each other up for 20 minutes. It's like those Russian slapping contests, but 10 times better, because it's Sheamus doing white noise to Gunther off the top rope. I like that a lot. It very good. This match, speaking of Daddy Magic, this match makes my nipples hard. Alright, number 6. Last Will Ospreay match of the list. It is him versus Jon Moxley at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Windy City Riot. What I love about Jon Moxley matches this year is how well he can work with so many different styles. Will Ospreay is doing his cocky, flippy shit that I like to call prick-style wrestling, and Moxley is just an angry bastard bleeding buckets, spiking Ospreay into hell with a paradigm shift. These two are masters of their craft, and I could I want to see them do more stuff together. Number 5. We're moving into the top 5, baby, and it is the men's War Games match from Survivor Series. What you're going to see in this top 5 is that these matches go the extra mile when it comes to telling an emotional storyline. The main gimmick in this one is what happens with Sami Zayn. Will the Mafia of Wrestling, the Bloodline, turn on him? The shot of Sami and Kevin Owens locking eyes, Sami having to make a decision before ending his relationship with Kevin, his best friend of 20 years. Oh, this is a juicy, juicy match, and watching Sami Zayn be accepted into the Bloodline, but then Roman, the last shot of him just being him staring off into the distance as though he has a plan that nobody else will see coming. Number 4. It is the Elite versus the Dark Order for the Trios title at AEW All Out. The next chapter in the Elite storyline kind of had to wait for a while because Kenny's vertigo and also the Adam Cole injury. But when we finally got to it at All Out, looked like the future of the group. Hangman Adam Page once again squaring off with Kenny for the first time in a year was hype as fuck, with the Young Bucks kind of in the middle trying to make amends with Hangman, but Page has a new family in the Dark Order, and he's the the one that ends up failing them, losing the match for them. Many were wondering what a post-champion chapter in Page's story was going to be, and I think the slow collapse of the Dark Order and his own personal failings is a sign of big things to come in 2023. Coming in bronze place is, speaking of the Elite versus Death Triangle at Full Gear. Kenny Omega had 6 matches this year, and 2 of them are in the top 5. He's so good at wrestling. The Elite returning to Carry On My Wayward Son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your really weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. I like it when crowds sing wrestling theme songs. It makes me very happy. The fact that was their entrance music already gave them a decent shot of making the list, but the match itself was also pretty good. Omega looked like he was fully back. The through line with Rey Fenix refusing to cheat till he realizes he has to. Matt Jackson fucking spiked Rey with a DDT on the apron while screaming "Go to hell." Death Triangle getting the surprise win was also nice. I mean, it's the best tag team feud maybe ever in wrestling between the Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers, and then you also throw in one of the best singles feuds in AEW history with Kenny and Pac, and yeah, you get a lot of good stuff. Number 2, Silver Place, is Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page from the 5th of January 2022 Dynamite. The highlight of Hangman's world title reign, their previous time limit draw established a very simple story. Can Hangman survive the greatest wrestler in the world? The Red Hot Page and the American Dragon had an all-time classic when it comes to both technical wrestling and the build-up to some high-flying spots. This match is the best thing that modern I want to start this one off with a story. I was 6 one spring night, and like I always did, I wandered down towards our townhouse basement to, I don't know, annoy my brother or steal his Bionicles or something. He was watching wrestling. I'd watch it with him every now and then. All the kids at school knew of The Rock, John Cena, and Randy Orton. But I hadn't fully fallen in love with the art of pro wrestling that would come in 2012. He was watching the main event of, I believe, Money in the Bank 2011, and this is where I first witnessed, in front of a rabid Chicago crowd, the magic of CM Punk. I didn't understand the real-life political consequences of the match nor the backstage stage drama, but I knew even at the time that there was something different, something special about CM Punk. I asked my brother who he was, and he simply told me, "That's CM Punk, and he's the best in the world." Later on in 2014, I'd have to come to grip with his retirement, leaving the WWE and wrestling as a whole, feeling as though I had truly lost something in my favorite TV show. Why am I telling you this? Because it's a good narrative framing device, and I want to pretend like I'm a bigger deal than I actually am, okay? The best wrestling match of 2022 was MJF versus CM Punk in a dog collar match at AEW Revolution. A story that has so much lore behind it. The start of the MJF villain origin story goes all the way back to his teenage days and his hero CM Punk. Leaving the industry wasn't just leaving us, the audience, for 7 years, but leaving MJF, the character, for 7 years, when he felt as though he needed CM Punk the most. This hits extra hard as a now 16-year-old, remembering asking his brother where Punk was as an 8-year-old, only to be told he was gone. It's easy to understand MJF's motivations as a character because I myself, to an extent, felt the same way because in real life, not the TV show story, but real life, Punk did leave for 7 years. Not only MJF, but the viewer also had to move on. For being a fake fighting sport, I don't think anything has ever felt as real as this storyline. See? The story at the beginning wasn't a waste of time. It was a smart setup. I have twisted a narrative, and you all fell for it like sheep ready to be herded. Moving on. MJF became the man he is today despite CM Punk becoming this hateful little prick, honestly. Punk also obviously carries his weight. The line, next time you're in the New York Times, it's going to be in the obituary column. That was pretty cool. As the veteran fighting the demon that he himself kind of created. A match with such a beautiful story, having the stipulation of a dog collar match, not just the old school territory stipulation between Greg the Hammer Valentine and Roddy Piper, but also the match where Punk himself defeated his mentor Raven in about 2002. It's all a cycle, is what I'm saying. The match itself was brutal, bloody, emotional as hell, like a classic 80s Southern match, similar to the Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes match from Double or Nothing 2020? 2019? I don't remember. A perfectly fitting ending to the best rivalry I've seen in the past couple of years. Honestly, maybe ever. I think this match really encompasses everything I love about pro wrestling as a narrative telling device, and I hope that my recent content on it has sparked some level of interest into people, because I genuinely think wrestling has as high of a ceiling for storytelling as any other medium, and MJF versus CM Punk in a dog collar match probably is the peak of this medium. Thanks.